You put yourself in Shanahan's shoes. It's always something that keeps you from winning that Super Bowl. It gets to a point where it just drives you nuts. Yeah. And I think you become hyper aware as you get closer and closer to winning a Super Bowl. What is it that's going to happen this time? Here's what happened against Tom Brady and the Patriots. Here's what happened the first time against Mahomes. Here's what happened the second time against Mahomes. No lead is safe. You almost have to be up 41-3 at halftime to finally be able to relax and think, okay, this time it's going to turn out differently and I'm finally going to win.
Now, back to the morning roast with Bonte and Shasky.
That cut with that music, mwah. Nice job, Spadone. Nice job.
You asked him about pressure. I always go back to there's a golf guy he's got a lot of pressure. He keeps saying pressure. But
they all have pressure. I don't want to,
And we'll get to Purdy's pressure in a second. I've had 6 months. It's been about 6 months, right? It's the 7th month of he's almost had 8 months. February was the Super Bowl.
March, April, May, June, July. Almost
about 6 months, give or take.
Oh, my gosh.
All right.
No lead is safe with Kyle.
I've had an opportunity to digest the Super Bowl. I've watched it back 4 to 5 full times. They lost that Super Bowl for a variety of reasons. But if you made me choose the biggest reason, it is Shanahan. Now, Shanahan's part why they got there. There's no doubt about it, right? But, I can't watch that Super Bowl without thinking about all of the different points in that game where they, A, didn't move the ball, B, weren't prepared for a blitz concept that was coming at them, C, didn't give McCaffrey certain touches in certain situations, didn't get George Kittle involved as a guy who can move off the line a little, and then not knowing the rules in overtime, then not only do you not know the rules, you don't realize that you've got Satan himself on the opposite sideline, Patrick Mahomes, who was going to score a touchdown, and you needed a touchdown. And I said it to you 500 times in the stadium, you got to score a touchdown. You got to score a touchdown. And so if you made me choose the biggest reason, now he's also one of the bigger reasons on why they were there, but why they lost the game was Shanahan. Doesn't mean he's not a good coach. It doesn't mean I don't think he's the right guy for the right spot for this team. All of those things are true. They lost that Super Bowl in a large part because of Kyle Shanahan. And I love the guy. It does, but he's got to wear it. He does. He has to wear that. Why are you laughing? 888-957-9570. And we'll get to Purdy in a second because I have a little thing I want to do with Bonte. If I made you boil it down to one thing, knowing it's never one thing, what was the big reason why they lost that Super Bowl?
It's Kyle Shanahan, and it's not even close. It's not even close when you really think about it, because I'm not just looking at the Super Bowl. I'm looking at Media Day. I'm looking at a head coach on Media Day, and I don't know if this is confirmed or not, and I'm not here to speculate. I'm not here to say that he was drunk but something was off.
Something was off.
Something was off. And something was off all week.
I told you it was not a good look. Remember, I came in, I said, dude, this is not a good look, dude.
Of course it wasn't a good look. I mean, it's never a good look, but something was off. Something was off. And I think back to Super Bowl 54, and nobody wants to touch this. When you get to Super Bowl 54 down in Miami back in 2019/2020, and you get there and you're just bloviating about Kirk Cousins. And maybe it was a question, but debunk the question. Hey, I'm here with Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm here. He was talking about Kirk Cousins and how we thought we were going to draft him, which is why we didn't draft Deshaun Watson. Patrick Mahomes like, dude, you're digging a bigger ditch. Just move on and talk about the Super Bowl, please. So he doesn't handle these situations greatly. And then I think about the way they were prepared on Christmas Day. They got smoked Christmas by the Baltimore Ravens. Then you come out in Green Bay and you're lethargic in that game, and all of a sudden Debo gets hurt. Look, you have Debo Samuel. There's a great chance he may go down because of the way he plays. He went down in that Green Bay game, and it was like, oh, what do we do offensively? We go from averaging 30 points a game to having 7 at the half and being now 13-7 going into the fourth, and oh my gosh, we got to rally quickly here. My quarterback's struggling a bit. Then you get the Lions game in the NC Championship game, and look, you can blame Steve Wilks all you want to. Steve Wilks was He was the scapegoat.
Who had a better game plan and who made better adjustments in game in the Super Bowl?
Steve Wilkes is the best coach of the Super Bowl, which is why it drove me crazy when Shanahan showed him up on the last possession of overtime, the last possession of the game, and he wants to throw his headset because they're lined up wrong. Well, you don't have Drake Greenlaw, and Steve Wilkes has had a good game. Defense gave you everything you needed. They held Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to 3 points at the half. The Chiefs had 13 going into the fourth quarter. Steve Wilkes did a hell of a job in the Super Bowl. Hell of a job. Gets no credit for it. He was the best coach. So, yeah, when I look back at the Super Bowl, the situations, the game flow, the penalties, the preparation, not knowing the overtime rules, yes, it's on Shanahan. Now, I'm not saying we need to fire Shanahan.
No one's saying
I'm not saying that. Hell, he should probably get an extension. He's been a great coach for the 49ers. But, boy, too many in these big games, it gets a little tight, and situations don't come out their way. So I look at the Super Bowl and the accountability, the lack of accountability in some of these games, in some of these Super Bowls. Kyle, come on, man. Let's go. Let's go, Kyle. What you got? You got everything. You got a high-priced left tackle. You got a high-priced tight end. You got a high-priced defensive end. You got your quarterback that you said you stumbled into, but whatever. We're going to give you a pass for whiffing on the number 3 overall pick. A monumental whiff in Trey Lance. That may go down as the worst pick of all time.
Can I ask this one? How come in all these big games, they've got Pro Bowlers galore at all the weaponry, and it feels like all the losses, their offense comes up just short?
All these games, all these big games. 2021 Rams, 17-7. What happened in the fourth quarter?
Like, can we lose a shootout once? No, I'm serious. Have they ever lost a shootout in the playoffs?
No.
It's always like, the offense just did
it's a grind.
one more thing.
It's a grind.
No, I know you're playing better defenses. I understand that. But, like, even the game the year prior between the Chiefs and the Eagles, like, Eagles offense moved the ball.
Oh, that was a shootout.
Yes, that was a shootout.
It was last team with the ball will win the football game. All right? But you think about 2019, 20-10, and you played conservative, and you were tight in that Super Bowl. Don't get me started on not calling the timeout before halftime, not giving the ball to Mostert, and then in the third quarter, you're up 20-10, and you get a little conservative.
I don't know how he gets over the whole overtime thing. Seeing the audio from the game afterwards and basically having an entire offseason to chew on it, you are going to go down. It's not Bill Buckner-esque, but you're going to go down as like, don't do what Shanahan did. Well, you always kick it off.
I watched them in Dallas.
Am I wrong?
They hung off.
It is the gold standard of what not to do in an overtime game in the playoffs. You know, everyone will know it because of the blunder.
We laugh at McCarthy and Dak Prescott for a lot of their misery and what they do, but in that wild card game, being at Texas Stadium, Shasky, the feeling I had inside that stadium, if Dak does spike that ball with 1 second left, the Cowboys are around, the 21, 22-yard line?
They almost blew that one.
They almost blew that game. You almost blew it, all right? Special teams saved you in Green Bay.
How about the game against the Cowboys when Zeke Elliott's final snap as a Cowboy to that point where they went wide? Come on, that was funny.
That was funny.
But they did have a play there.
So, I mean, look, Shanahan's going to be here for a while, but Mike said something. He may need a reset at some point, and he may not get that Super Bowl here. He just may not get that Super Bowl here. And that saddens me that we're at that point now. Because after the season, it's inevitable. There's going to be a reset with the personnel.
There's no doubt. Is there like a I know Don Nelson was kind of like a tortured soul. He was so brilliant, he almost got in his own way. Is there an element of that when you watch Shanahan?
Absolutely there is. Because I see McVay, he coaches a lot looser. It always feels like McVay has a pep in his step, right? He's walking around.
They're very different ethoses. McVay is just more optimistic and fiery. Right. And
that's what he is. And Shanahan just he gets in his own dome.
I would say Shanahan, to me, is more analytical like Belichick. Like, there's many ways to win, right? McVay reminds me more of a and he's not Dick Vermeil, but more of the Dick Vermeil type than he is. Like, he'll hug and kiss a player on the field and high five him, whatever. Whereas Shanahan's got more Belichick, like, I'm thinking 3 plays ahead.
He does play chess. And you hear rumors like Shanahan run a play knowing that it's not going to work just to set up a play down the line. Well, that all sounds good. That all sounds fine and dandy. But then what if that play doesn't work that you were setting up 3 plays from now? Like, were they setting up the 3rd and 5 in the 4th quarter? Were they setting that up?
Well, here's where I have a hard time, though. Like, he's won so many big playoff games, and yet in all the losses, I feel like I can – and this is the part where I find it difficult to do the evaluation. He's great. He's going to be – when it's all said and done – only Bill Walsh, if he wins a playoff game this year, only Bill Walsh is going to have more playoff wins than him, right? So he's so good in the playoffs, yet his losses are so littered with crazy mistakes.
Jim Harbaugh had that same tag. And then last year now I know it's college football.
Yeah.
But you think about what they went through at Michigan.
That's actually true.
What they went through. And he finally, they had lost 2 straight playoffs, losing to TCU. Blown out to Georgia the year before. And then finally, you got to play Alabama in the Rose Bowl. Jim Harbaugh, kind of like Shanahan in that Super Bowl, where Shanahan went for it on 4th down and got the pass to George Kittle for the 1st down. Well, Harbaugh, we forget, in that Rose Bowl, Big Dog and I are like, he's really going for it from his own 35? And he went for it. And he got that monkey off his back to win a big, because he's won a lot of big games. But now it just feels like Harbaugh, we look at him completely different. Even though it's the national championship in college football, doesn't it feel like some of that pressure has been alleviated for Jim Harbaugh saying, well, you can't win a big one? Well, he did win a big one. He beat Saban.
I know.
All right, and he beat Penix Jr.
Well, and he chose to go to the division of Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
And the loaded AFC. I know, in part because he believes so much in Herbert.
Right.
To that organization, the Chargers.
The Chargers, out of all, I think the Raiders made a mistake not getting Jim Harbaugh.
I'm with you.
We'll see what happens.
Who their quarterback is.
Yeah, I know.
AOC.
Yeah, I see that.
Not that AOC.
No, not
Aiden
that.
O'Connell.
Yeah,
AOC for president.
Yeah. Well, oh boy. Let's go to Richard Hayward. Rich, what's happening?
Hey, I'm just going to say, like I've been listening to what our defense wasn't the problem in that Super Bowl.
It sure wasn't.
I mean, and the stuff that he did, it's ridiculous. It's like, I'm not saying he's Marv Levy, but he has 2 L's, in a Super Bowl. I mean, that's unprecedented territory. The only other person is the Buffalo Bills. I don't want to be where it's Niners, and I'm a Niner, Niner fan, and it's just like, no, we're not going down as, if we don't win this year or we lose another one, then unbelievable. The pressure is on Shanahan.
Wow. Is that the most pressure? Thanks for the call, Rich. Most pressure on Shanahan going into the year. 888-957-9570 is the number.
Before you go out to any other lines,